I said back in Season 5 that new is always better.
New is always better.
And with that, I have something new on the horizon for Season 6. Sometimes change can be scary, but ultimately change is good, and it is oh so necessary because it is, as a certain mad titan once said,
I am inevitable.
Well, actually, no, Thanos. Change is inevitable. But before I get into this month's content, I have a bit of a PSA to share with you. Lately, there has been a growing trend on social media, specifically Instagram, where authors on the platform are having their accounts spoofed. Most of the time, this happens as a means of scammers trying to hack other accounts or share popcorn minus the OPC. But this new trend, the accounts are getting spoofed by people who are obviously not native English speakers who are trying to worm their way into someone's DMs with the following phrase. Observing our shared passion for writing, I believe it would be wonderful to connect and discuss our individual journeys in the realm of authorship. How many years have you been engaged in writing? This is from a recent conversation I had on Labor Day weekend with someone who claimed he was this author named Marvin Knight. Eventually, they ask for a link to your books and follow up by asking questions about what me or someone else as the author has done to market the book or books and build the audience. Then there's an unsolicited recommendation for some kind of marketing or book review service. There are ways to verify these kinds of false accounts. First, the unsolicited message coming in from an account you don't already follow, that's a clue. Secondly, the use of spelling changes, numbers added to the name, or the use of periods or underscores to separate words in the @ Now, this last indicator may not always be an issue. My own social media @ uses an underscore after all. But here are some other things that you can do to make sure you're talking with the author you should be talking with. Search them up on social media. I had 2 accounts on Instagram trying to add me on the Sunday before Labor Day. The first account had no alternate version on the platform, and I'll come back to that one in a moment. But the second one, which had already been started during the early part of July, struck me as odd because it did have an alternate version. The account trying to add me had a 3 after the author's name. When I went to the real account that had a history of posts dating back to the last few years, that told me that the other account that was trying to add me wasn't real. So recency of the account is a probable clue. With that other account, the supposed Marvin Knight, didn't have an alternate version on Instagram, as I mentioned. So I had to dig a little deeper. I Googled and found the author's official website, which not only had the links to all of his socials and had a link for an email address, a personal email address, by the way, through Gmail. Not a single one of his social media platforms on the website was for Instagram. There was Reddit and Discord and Facebook and Twitter, but in that conversation, the scammer tried to say his account was banned for some unknown reason. It's BS because it never existed. So be wary and help indie authors in reporting and blocking these fakers because, as Dwight Schrute says,
identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Oh, and one other big announcement. If you're local to the Hanford area or Kings County at large, come on down to the Hanford branch of the Kings County Library from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. today for a new writing workshop focused on writing horror fiction. We'll be looking at classic examples while breaking down the tropes and common elements found in such stories. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Okay, let's get back into the meat of this episode. The biggest change has to do with the structure of the show. For the last 5 seasons, I've had episodes coming out weekly. That's a lot of episodes, a lot of writing, a lot of filming, a lot of editing. That's not to say I didn't enjoy doing all of that, but I wanted to try something new, something different to maximize content and give myself some extra breathing room each month. So, with that in mind, here's how this is going to work out. A new episode will release in the middle of every month. It will include a monthly top 10 list, a monthly author interview, and a monthly Creators Corner writing tip. You're still getting the same great quality, it's just what's the word I'm looking for? Consolidated. Yeah. From 3 powerful episodes into 1 mega powerful episode. I will follow up the episode the week later with a live stream right here on YouTube. And what isn't changing, though, is Author Awareness April, which will still be its usual week-by-week marathon of author interviews. I will have some special episodes in between, like the author showcase prior to the Author Awareness April marathon, or a special New Year's message, Star Wars Day, and of course, the Season 6 righties. Those will launch on appropriate dates, and I'm looking forward to bringing that content to you as well. Now that the proverbial Band-Aid has been rightly ripped off, let me show you what you have to anticipate going into Season 6, starting with the top 10s list. I have slated a tremendous troupe of guest hosts coming up, including returning authors Thea Landon, Matthew Romeo, and Chris Weimer. Podcast hosts Heather Pantoja and Steph Gallen of the Reading Sirens will do back-to-back episodes during the winter, and of course, my Way of the Stars co-host, John Mark Tolley, will be presenting a slew of Star Wars-themed books coming in May. For Author Awareness, I'll be interviewing a lot of new faces, at least new to the show, even though most have been around the online writing community for a spell or two. I have local authors, graphic novelists. I have the chance to go international again with awesome authors from India and 2 from the UK, and 1 from Canada. We can't forget our neighbors to the north. Multiple genres will be featured as opposed to the fantasy-heavy slate from last season. I am so pleased to announce that I have 1 author returning for an interview for her first time back in 3 years, so since Season 3. For Creators Corner, I'm taking a slightly different tack with my approach. While the writing tips have mainly focused on adding tips and tricks for improving your story structure, your world building, your editing, and your understanding of character design and the hero's journey, those have all been aids in writing fiction. But this season, I'm returning to one of my first literary loves, which is poetry.
Poetry.
This season, each Creators Corner segment will include a breakdown of a different type of poetry, with an example provided from my book, The Lover, the Fighter, and the Philosopher. I'll provide the background of the style, the rules and structure, and I'll provide a prompt for everyone to try at home. One last thing before I wrap up this first sort of not quite full episode of Season 6. It would be great to not only have your viewership, but your financial support too. With that said, you can become a subscriber on Patreon with the selection of one of 3 support options. For $1 a month, you can get access to uncut, unedited runs of each monthly interview. For $3 a month, you not only get that special interview access, you'll also have a week's early access to the Creators Corner segment. And for $5 a month, you get those first 2 rewards plus access to a special behind-the-scenes video exclusive only to patrons. You can also pick up the Right Way merchandise from the store on Teespring. You can get shirts, mugs, posters, and more. If that is more your speed, that's perfectly fine for an option. Just make sure to tag me on Instagram and Twitter. I mean X. At GKJ_publishing using the hashtag #TheRightWay, all one word. Of course, the easiest and the freest way to support the channel is to become a subscriber, so make sure to smash that subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications for when new videos drop. Hey, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to tune in next week for the first full episode featuring the first Creators Corner segment of the season. It'll also include an interview with fantasy author Hank Silver and the season's first top 10 book Rex, featuring last season's best interview guest, returning sci-fi and romance author Thea Landon. See you then.